Hi, welcome back. My apologies, it's been some time since my last reflection, and maybe thank you for your patience. It's with patience that I reflect this evening. My grandfather was one of the kindest men I can remember. He also had the softest hands and the most watery blue eyes. He was an agricultural scientist, and he would spend hours and hours in his greenhouse grafting new strains of various crops. And the one thing he exhibited more than anything was this quality of patience. He would have to wait decades sometimes to see the fruits of his labor. It came to me as no surprise then that he also loved fly fishing. And he would teach me at Troutbeck Inn at Nyanga in the then Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, the art of fly fishing. He was always comfortable in his own skin and loved the quiet. He never got flustered too much by many things, and besides, he always reminded me that you need to be fully present to lose yourself in the art of fly fishing. I went fishing with him last week. Yes, over 30 years after his passing, but his presence is still very much there for me on the edge of a trout lake, especially when the mist rolls in, and I can still remember him casting his split cane rod with great deliberate mindfulness. It took me 6 hours of fishing before I landed my first fish, and anyone other than my grandfather, I think, because fly fishing is not a great spectator sport, would have left long ago. But I could swear he was still there. And although I never used a self-tied fly, I'm sure I heard him chuckle through the enveloping clouds. It seemed quite conceivable to me that if I was fishing in the clouds, I would be close to heaven, and that is where he lives, quite next to a trout, right next to a trout lake. If there's been one thing more than anything else that's tested me during lockdown, it's been patience. Clients cancelling things at the last minute, some directionless political leaders, polarizing viewpoints, an abundance of fake news, irrational laws, mindless stupidity, connection issues, load shedding, and the rise of the ineptocracy. It is enough to thrash the waters in despair and hurl the rod at the uncooperative fish. And patience runs thinner than the lead of tippet, which rests lightly enough so as not to break the water's surface. I guess much like the last 8 months, those 6 hours of fishing had me tempted by some fish. I lost a few. I got caught in the brambles. It was much like this lockdown period. But after 6 hours, the fly held firm, and I played the fish all the way back to a successful release. And strangely enough, in less than 10 minutes, I landed 2 more. Each time, I could hear the words of my grandfather. Tie your fly properly, my boy. Cast into the shadows. And of course, be patient. I left knowing a little more about what I have patience for in my life and what I don't. Silent time with my grandfather is always filled with wisdom. What and who, I guess, will we have patience for this week? And until then, we'll see you next time, and be patient.